I'm currently working on coloring in the legs and then essentially the abdominals or the stomach in mostly yellow, if not entirely yellow. I used this Sharpie marker to color in the chest and shoulder areas that aren't covered by this top that is based off of a reference image I found of most likely a Cleopatra either Halloween costume or costume for TV show. But I still used it in the hopes of getting a style that's more like how an ancient Egyptian pharaoh, or at least an ancient Egyptian, would be dressed. And this bottom wear is ultimately inspired by that same reference image. I recall in the morning hours outlining the rest of the bottom wear, then doing the outline for these anklets. I'm not sure if that's a technical term. Then the outline for the paws, based off of an image I found of a cat's paws, then coloring those two in after I used the previous outlines to draw this line meant to separate the legs. And I recall that was all I did before around noon. I fell asleep and got up around 2:30, maybe 2:15 p.m. During the morning hours, and both during what I did more recently, which was color in the chest areas and the shoulder areas after I drew in that Ankha, then drew in that Eye of Horus symbol within the Ankha. I'm not 100% sure on how to pronounce it. And then I drew the top itself, and then the cleavage. I had, if I recall, around 2 cups of coffee from a morning pot and 2 to 3 cups of coffee from an evening pot Dad made. I had the morning pot, if I recall, roughly from 6 to 9 in the morning, if I recall. Starting with when Dad made it. This morning before heading off to work. And the evening pot kind of started around 9 p.m. Maybe 8:30 p.m. at the earliest, so it was probably more of a night pot, to be honest. Yeah, but either way, I had some good coffee today. As I worked on the second Ankha polystyrene drawing. I remember while I was doing the Ankha, the Eye of Horus, and then some of the top Dad was at Salvatore's. Hanging out with his friends. And if I recall, getting a pizza for himself, a medium, I don't know what its base and toppings are. But as for mine, he got what I had last time, which is a pesto base with broccoli and black olives, though I ultimately decided to save that pizza for later. And instead for dinner, I'm having this soup I found, as well as some of the chicken wings that one of Dad's friends, Magdi, gave to him in a box, which is the term for one of the black plastic containers, food containers, that Salvatore's uses. Ultimately, for the close of the second Ankha polystyrene drawing, I decided to kind of break with what I did for the first one in favor of, again, making her look more like an ancient Egyptian. Since she is, to some extent at least, based off of ancient Egyptian mythology and culture. In between drawing, for that polystyrene drawing project, I've been continuing to play this game, Raid Heroes Total War, since there's still badges to earn on it. Excuse me, and this is where I'm at now. I just recently started a new raid, and I'm just collecting gold so that I can upgrade my gold producing buildings and be able to produce the gold I need to be able to get that last castle building. I have some epic quality heroes in my squad, and I'm currently hoping to fill my whole squad with epic heroes if I can, since I assume since they're the highest quality that they're the strongest and best heroes. Since they gotta be a higher quality, rarity, for a reason. After all, I was on the previous raid for pretty much the entirety of today. I recall around 2:30 p.m. I had some leftover Singapore noodles with a glass of milk. And by that point, I'd pretty much finished my cups of the morning pot. For at least a few weeks, I've been using pieces of paper towel like this to compare both to, primarily to itch my nose, so I don't use my fingers to do that, since the nose is a dirty part of the body. And I don't want to risk staining a polystyrene drawing project. And also to test out Sharpie markers to, for example, if one color is running out, such as what happened for me in the late afternoon / evening. In terms of a fine-tipped yellow Sharpie marker, I used the old one for the chest and shoulder areas, and I'm currently using the new one for the legs, and then I'll use it for the abdominal area. But I used that piece of paper towel in order to determine that those two Sharpie markers were of the exact same color. So I wouldn't accidentally use a lime green fine-tipped Sharpie marker in this case. Since the difference between a yellow and a lime green fine-tipped Sharpie marker is pretty faint, to the point where you otherwise have to take the cap off and look at the tip in order to tell the difference. I recall around 6:15 p.m. having the chicken-flavored phenomenal soup bowl that Mom gave me on the day Dad picked me up from her place the other day. And I had that phenomenal soup bowl with a glass of milk. And I made great progress today on this episodic event. I'm on the very last task set, just about. You can pause the video to read these text boxes. I'm currently putting them backwards to show all of them. This is just to complete the task. Here's where I'm at currently on the research tree.